Here are my early NBA MVP predictions. Number 1 on the list is Anthony Edwards. Now, I don't think this should be much of a surprise to anybody, but if it is, you need to watch Anthony Edwards because he is getting to that MVP level. Anthony Edwards is one of the most fun players to watch on and off the court, but one of the best things about him is he wants to win all the time, and part of that is him improving himself and getting to that MVP level. With the Timberwolves having a much better season than pretty much everybody thought except for maybe Timberwolves fans. So they exceeded everybody's expectations, but they didn't also win the championship. And we know Anthony Edwards was not satisfied with that. So I think he's going to take another step forward this year. I don't think it should be shocking if the Timberwolves are a top seed. Now the West is stacked, so we could see teams that we think are going to be at the top be at the bottom and vice versa. So I don't know where each team is going to end up yet, but if the Timberwolves are near the top, it's because Anthony Edwards is going crazy, along with obviously his teammates helping him. But I think Anthony Edwards is going to put up big time stats and put himself in the MVP conversation. Every single year he has improved, and we've seen it. Like, it's not just numbers, but you've seen it in his decision making, his IQ, everything has gotten better. And of course, his highlight dunks are always fun to watch. So I think Anthony Edwards has a real shot to make an MVP case this season and maybe win. Number 2 on this list is actually someone who kind of got forgotten about, and that is Ja Morant. Now, we know there was a lot of things going on with Ja Morant, which is why he wasn't part of, the season last year for the most part. Suspension, injuries, all that. So the Grizzlies were not in contention at all. But a couple of seasons ago, they were supposed to be the next team. And Ja Morant is their best player. And he was a big reason as to why they were, given the title of the next team up. And when Ja Morant came back for that small stretch, the Grizzlies were not winning a ton of games. I don't know if you remember, but they were near the bottom of the standings. Ja Morant came back. It looked like the Grizzlies were literally going to make the playoffs, or the play-in at least. I forgot how far away they were. But they looked like they were set to just go up, up, up. That's how much Ja Morant impacted them winning. I think Ja Morant is back to have a great season. And if the Grizzlies play the way that they did prior to, his big absence, then the Grizzlies could be a top seed in the West. And Ja Morant will definitely put up big time stats. So I think he has a really good case to potentially, be in the MVP race. And here's the thing, MVP is also about the storyline. I mean, I know a lot of people will say it shouldn't be, and also some people will deny that it is the storyline, like maybe some of the voters. But we know that the storyline gets taken into account, whether they want to admit it or not. And so nobody has a better storyline than Ja Morant coming off the suspension, all the injuries. The whole team was, not very good last season, mostly because basically everybody was out. But coming off of that and then turning it all around, being a top 1, 2, 3 seed, whatever it is, being the face of your franchise again, all those things, it's a storyline, and it definitely will be factored in for Ja Morant if he's contending for the MVP, and it may help him win. Before we get into our next candidate, let me talk about some of the honorable mentions and why I think, or why I didn't put them on the list. Number 1 is Zion. I put him on the list the last 2 years. I still think he has a chance to win MVP if he would just stay healthy. So he's not on this list because I just don't know if he's going to be healthy. That's the only reason he's literally not on this list, because I think he could have won it last year and the year before had he stayed healthy. I know the odds makers say Jokic is the favorite, followed by Luka, and then you got Giannis and Embiid. I honestly don't think any of those 4 are going to win MVP. I know that sounds crazy, but I just don't see it. Which is honestly the craziest for Luka, because he's never won one. So the other 3 you could understand. They're multiple time MVPs for the most part. But I just feel like the Mavs, I don't know. I don't see him winning MVP. I also want to mention Shea. The reason I don't have Shea on this list is because I think Shea is still going to be great. I think he could still average close to 30 again. But the reason I don't have him on this list is because they were the number 1 seed last year and he still didn't get it. And his teammates only got better because they all got older, they all got more experience. And so I feel like the team is going to be more well-rounded, if that makes sense. And I think they'll still be good. Like, I'm not saying they're going to just fall out. Like, they're still probably will be a top seed in the West. But I think the statistics are going to be more distributed, throughout players on the team. And so I just feel like it's going to be more of a collective effort, kind of how the Celtics were viewed this season. And so I feel like that's why Shea won't get MVP. I also want to mention Steph Curry. I have put him on this list, I think every year for the past 2 years. Like, basically how I put Zion on the last 2 years, I put Steph on the last 2 years. It feels wrong to not put Steph Curry on the list. So I feel like just because I am not making him an official MVP candidate on my list, he's going to win it just because I didn't this year. But Steph Curry always has a chance. And before you say LeBron, I feel like LeBron is past that point. We know LeBron's coasting in the regular season so he can make it to the playoffs. So LeBron, in my opinion, is past that point. I think Steph is getting to the point where he's coasting a bit in the regular season as well. But I still think he has a better chance to win MVP than LeBron. And Steph Curry could put up crazy stats, especially with Clay gone. So look out for him. But again, he's not officially on this list, but he kind of is on this list. Back to the last player, though. Jalen Brunson. If you notice, this entire list is guards, which was not on purpose, but hey, the guards are doing well in the NBA. I think, and I said this, I think in the video where I talked about them getting Mikal Bridges. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. As of this moment, I have the Knicks as the number 1 seed in the East. I haven't made a standings predictions. I don't know where everybody's going to be. This is basically the only team where I think I know where they're going to be. And I think that's number 1. Their style of play, the talent, everything. I just think they're going to be the number 1 seed. And obviously, Jalen Brunson's going to be leading the way. Now, I did say in my video yesterday that I could see Julius Randle being their leading scorer. But at the same time, I still think it's going to be led by Jalen Brunson, if that makes sense. If Julius Randle is the leading scorer, I don't know if they're going to give him MVP. But if Jalen Brunson is the leading scorer, which is very, very possible and very likely, I think Jalen Brunson can easily win MVP. That's another story now. It's a little different because they were the number 2 seed last year, but it's still a story. Like, the Knicks, haven't been relevant for a while. Like, now they are, but prior to this, the number 1 seed, Jalen Brunson's cooking. Like, he could win MVP as well. Let me know in the comments down below who you think will win MVP.